Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, this show's topic is a fun topic. We all like to play games. And what games like the best? Sex games. And what do we all play, or what's the biggest kind of game being played now? Video games. So put the two together, and you have sex video games. Well, that's going to be the topic of our final segment of this show. But to lead up to that, we are going to talk about the Olympic sex games. Yes, there are the Olympic sex games, believe it or not. And there are several categories. We're going to go through those categories and discuss them. And then end our show, like promised, with some sex video games. At least one in particular that is out there that has been getting some talk and some being banned on some networks. Now go figure that. So, let's get this topic started. So, sex Olympic games that you can play. Make up your own events as you wish. We are going to talk about some ideas on how you do it. And this is like in a celebration of the Olympics and how, take it on a different view, so to speak. And do they make you horny? You gotta ask yourself that. You get excited about the Olympics, so maybe it does. If your country wins, are you excited about that? You want to celebrate? Well, let's discuss and go through them. First one that we're going to discuss is condom curling. Yes, condom curling. We must know how to do that. And the idea of this event is that the competitors must slide a wrapped condom across their bedroom floor, and whoever goes the furthest wins. Obviously, judges award points for technique, form, and style when curling. And generally, condom curling, they usually have them, there's a particular college that actually has this event, or some colleges have it, and they actually use this as a way to inform and inform students and whoever in regards to the safety of sex and safety health practices when engaging in sex. And they have their own little things that they do with competition with condoms and lubrication and everything, because that's exactly what you get free. You get a pile of condoms, a pile of little packets of lubrication, and then you got to put together your sex go kit and get as much in it as possible within a time frame. Pretty interesting on how you can go about this. But colleges are using it as a way to teach safer sex practices. And it's held under the sex health class, I don't know, curriculum? Well, you gotta make it fun. If you want them to listen to you, if you want them to practice safe sex, you gotta make it fun. Next one we are looking into in our Sex Olympics next event is laying the half pipe. Now, here, competitors must perform an ambitious sex routine that moves from the bed to a chair to the floor and back. Basically, like the ups and downs of the half pipe. Now, in this event, the judges are looking for height. Now, if the competitors can adeptly move from a bed with several box springs underneath it, difficulty of the positions attempted, and the variety of the positions actually done. Now, our next event in the Sex Olympics is the figure mating. Let your mind soar on that one, but it is where competitors must execute a routine that involves ambitious positions, technical mastery, and style. So you can really let your mind go in these events. Now, your score is based on costumes, score, and ambition of the position. Just like a figure skater, failing at an ambitious position is still scored better than perfectly executing a small stunt. Remember, no one wants to be a pro at missionary. Get creative. This is where your creative juices in the bedroom on different positions you want to try comes in handy. Now into our next event in the Sex Olympics is clingus choreography. Now, this particular event, some people think it's the same, but there is with figure mating, but there is a different, cunny is what it's called. Choreo is what it is called by the experts, is like ice dancing of the Sex Olympics. It is similar to figure skating in that both take place on the ice. Ice dancing is hyper-precise cousin of figure skating. And in figure mating, you're focused more on ambitious positions. This is where the difference comes in. But in this event, the points are awarded for artistry. And this is based, on going on the days of draw the alphabet with your tongue. Judges award points based on creativity, teamwork, and you must using verbal and nonverbal clues to communicate to one another what they like or don't like about what their partner is doing. And then the landing, of course, which is, drumroll, the orgasm. Now, with competitors in this, competitors with a fancy routine who don't manage to stick their landing, that orgasm, and bring their partner to their own orgasm or their partner to a full orgasm, you are automatically disqualified. So the end result here is the landing and sticking that landing with giving your partner the ultimate orgasm and making them scream. Now, the next event in the Sex Olympics is Bob Spread'em. Now, how this works is, this takes the classic 4-person bobsled event, which we all know. We call it, instead of bobsled, we're calling it the bob spread. Alright, it pits you and 3 of your favorite sex toys against your partner in 3 of your favorite sex toys. You and your partner are each team captains of a rival bobsled team, and you each have 3 sex toys for your team members. You must use each toy for the duration of a song of both your choosing, for a total of 3 songs. Whoever can time their orgasm to climax of the 3rd and final song wins this event. Judges grant points based on your choreography with your sex toy, timing, and teamwork. Obviously, the order of which toy you choose to use and when. Next event in our Sex Olympics, freestyle peeing. Now, we all know when it snows out, you go outside and write your name in the snow. Here, post-coitus, tongue tie there, a lot for the tongue to use. Remember, we're using our tongue to write the alphabet. Competitors must race one another to the bathroom to pee first. Okay? Now, points are deducted for UTIs. You cannot have a urinary tract infection because those are never any fun, obviously, and you don't want to pass that along to your opposing competitor. Now, the judges award points based on technical precision. Just to note, the International Sex Olympics Committee rules that seats and lids must be placed down after urinating, which always trips the competitors. And the final points are based on your creativity when peeing. So get creative. This isn't snow, but you do have a goal of the toilet, and you must put down the toilet seat. Our next event is 50 Shades of Luge. Now, in this event, competitors must stay perfectly still in the luge position, obviously laying on the floor, while your partner uses a vibrator or blowjob sleeve on them. Move out of position, and it's an automatic disqualification. We do not want to be disqualified in the sex games, in the Sex Olympics, because we are here for the gold. We can have so much fun with the Sex Olympics, and those were just the starter events. So, we are going to move on to other events that are in our Sex Olympics. Now remember, your Sex Olympics in the bedroom, you can make up your own events, because that's where the fun comes in. Now, just to give you a little clearer view on the condom curling when it came with, on colleges on the campus. Now, they do have it at, this one particular college. Oh, where the heck is the college name? Aha, because this article is actually in the university press. And the reason why they have these condom Olympics, and they actually go through the whole process, these sex Olympics, you go through the process with the torch and everything, the opening events. It is in order to, and it's held by a sex health coordinator, which is cool. You have to compete, the students compete to see who can stuff the most safer sex kits in 1 hour. Each kit includes 3 condoms, condom instructions, and a pack of lubricants. The supplies for the event are provided by and this is in Palm Beach County Comprehensive AIDS Program. And these kits, once they're made, go to a good cause because they are dispersed to those infected by AIDS. So that is why they hold these condom Olympics on the college grounds. Also, it is done during a week devoted to safer sex education. So that is a very good event. At the event, you get free condoms, you get free lubricants, and, safer sex flyer tips. They also play condom bingo. And also there is, quote unquote, the hookup. Carathis Productions, I take it they put on a little movie or discussion about hooking up, sexual assault, and bystander intervention. So these are actually very good events. They are aimed at educating the student and the population. When we come back, because we are going to take a break here, so get that drink, get that snack, and when you come back, get relaxed in a new position, and we're going to continue with our Sex Olympics. Again, ending the show with some sex video games that are out there that you can play. So, meet me back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back. I hope you picked a good snack and nice drink and are relaxed because we are going to continue on our topic of the Sex Olympics. And where we left off was on the colleges and how they're using Condom Olympics to make people aware, safer sex practices, also that these kits are put together and distributed to people inflicted with AIDS, which is a very good cause. There's just a couple of more points on this, which is part of the Olympic Games, the Condom Olympic Games. They have sex ed trivia, and you really got to think about what you know about sex. Take it out of the bedroom and then put your knowledge to it, because I'm going to ask you good questions and see how much you get right. And then they close out the ceremonies, the Condom Olympics closing ceremonies. And after, crowning the winners, they show that, this is a way of preventing STDs and safer sex and all the good stuff that comes along with that. So that is a very good sex Olympic game right on the colleges. I'm sure there are other colleges that are doing it as well, but these are really, really good things that they are doing. It's going for a good cause, and the students are getting educated, especially if you're the student, it's the first time you are at college. Sex ed takes on a different meaning there, and a lot of other things that you need to watch out for. So that is a very, very good thing. So now, continuing on with our topic of the Condom Olympics. It is that fun series which I told you of interactive activities based on sexual health. It's a way in which of creating a comfortable atmosphere where you talk about the topics of proper condom usage, STIs or STDs, which one, it means the same thing, and safer versus unsafe sexual behaviors. And a lot of the students who do participate win gifts, which is very, very good. I believe colleges are probably still doing this. Well, right now due to COVID, they're not doing much. And I know the kids are going back to school, so think about it that way. Now, there is, now going back to our lovely Sex Olympics, the 5th annual Sex Olympics has, I don't know if it was this year, nope, last year. They were held last year, August 16th and 17th of last year. And, it was 2 nights of sexual healthy competition. On the first night, they included the sensual opening ceremonies, naughty games, and everybody won prizes, so it was really cool. So I would presume that they did not have this year due to COVID, but this is what's going on now. The games that they have scheduled, or they played last Sex Olympics, for night 1, first game was air sex. Now, during air sex, participants will have 30 seconds to give the judges their best air sex performance It's exactly as it sounds, air sex, and I know your minds go straight to air guitar, and that's what it is actually being compared to. So you think of air guitar, but sex. You can stimulate any sexual activity with an invisible partner, and this is via your movements, sounds, and facial expressions. So you're going to really act it out, and then the audience gets to pick. Our next event on night one was pole position. All right. And it's called pole position winners, but it's actually pole position. Now, there were pairs of individuals, and they had 45 seconds to get into as many sexual positions as they can. That's a lot. Now, the team with the highest score, according to the judges, obviously wins. There were couples waiting to participate. They wait out of view of the others because they can't, the other teams, because they cannot, basically follow what they're doing. They have to actually make them up themselves, even though I'm assured a lot of the positions were, the same here and there. The pairs also got bonus points for creativity and audience reactions. Interesting. Another event is dildo relay race. Interesting. Obviously, we know what that means, but let's get down to how it's, performed. All right, there are teams of 2, and these teams of 2 will, one at a time, move through the course that is laid out with a lubed up dildo between their legs. At the halfway point, the first racer will pass the torch, the dildo, to their partner for the big finish. This is a timed event, and the best time from all the heat wins. But you gotta keep the dildo between your legs. Another event on that list is oral relay race. Interesting enough. This is where, people put their oral skills to the test. The race starts with a plate full of whipped cream. Be the first to lick the plate clean. Now, these things you can do at home. You can probably practice these. It's just really cool with your partner or alone. Next, grab a cherry with stem. Eat the cherry, then tie the stem into a knot. Must practice that. Now, the final hurdle in this, it puts the winner first. The winners of the first 2 heats head to head in the ultimate test, applying a condom to a banana without using your hands. So you must get creative with your mouth, because it is oral relay racing. Now, big dance that has plagued our TV and everything else is a twerking contest. This, we all know what it is. I don't think I have to explain that to you. It's everywhere, twerking. I think Miley Cyrus took it to the max. But that is the final event on night 1 of the 5th Annual Sex Olympics. I'm assured that once COVID is under control at some point in time, they will bring up the 6th Annual sex Olympics, but this is so much fun just knowing that this is out there and they're doing this. Now, on the second night of competition, now this night is all of the finals. And then they have a great party after that, apparently. A lot of discounts at the booths and everything like that. And this is on the second night. This is where you just come in, go and see all the sex tables and buy new condoms or dildos, sex toys, and everything else. Look this up. It'll be back soon up obviously, like I said, because of COVID, it is down and they haven't had it. But I'm sure they will come out with the sixth annual. Look at me, sex annual. Sixth annual Sex Olympics, which should be quite interesting and fun for those interested. Now to move along, we're going to go talk about some amazing sex games that you can play as a couple. Now remember, any of these games that are in competition, you can do these in the bedroom. And you can put your own twist on them. And maybe even have something where at the end of it, you actually have a trophy for the winner. Or something like, you're going to buy dinner or go out to the most fancy dinner or take them somewhere or whatever. But you can have your own little ceremony there. These are for your fun in the bedroom and in the event. So we are going to move this on to like some amazing sex games, as I said, to play as couples. Obviously, the best thing about sex games is the foreplay leading up to the ultimate landing of any event, the orgasm. It makes it playful. It makes it long-lasting, creative, and intimate. Foreplay is like probably some of the best sex before sex or that you're going to have, or after sex. And that's a way in which to keep that intimacy going. So you need to, it's really good for couples to engage in these sex games because you learn things about your partner. You always have something different, which is spicing up the bedroom. And you'll remember this. And if more couples explore your playful naughtiness, right from the start of everything without fear, then your sex is not going to be boring. It's always going to be fun. So don't think that it isn't. So here are some of those games that you can play. And all these games that are mentioned, like I said, please put your own twist on them. But remember to educate yourself first. Both you and your partner, get educated, communicate, and have consent. Very, very important. One game is X marks the spot. This is where your partner's job as explorer is to kiss a different part of your body till he or she guesses which spot you're thinking about. And then you can really up the ante by giving clues like hot or cold, like that game, as your partner gets closer or further away from that chosen zone. Next game we can play is pick a card and a card. And you get to redefine the 4 suits in the deck of cards. Maybe, here's where this means where diamonds now represent oral sex. Hearts can represent kissing. Spades are a massage. Clovers are hands-on action. The numbers on the cards can equal the number of seconds that it is to be done, that sex act. Or minutes, which one you pick. That whoever draws the card is supposed to perform it. You take turns with it. Who wants to go first, roll a dice, see who gets the highest number to go first, or flip a coin. But either way, you're picking a card that is going to give you that. Now think about the cards and think about what you want those suits to represent. Make them fun. And there are 52 cards in there. You might want to even put in the jokers, because that could be that wild card, and you can, pick whatever you would like to do and do it. Always good to include the joker. A next sex game is Not So Fast. The idea of this game is lie naked on the bed or on the floor, wherever you feel comfortable, or wear something that makes you feel like a sex bomb. Have your chosen one stand at your bedroom door. Test how well your partner knows you by asking your partner questions about yourself. They can range. It can be sexy to personal. Doesn't make a difference. And you can always ask something sexually, as we are trying to figure out our partners. When they answer the right question, or they answer right, they can take one step closer to you. So it's a process of getting to your partner to this, finish out the act. Now, remember here, or to just let you know that every wrong answer that you get, you have to move back a step. So, and this is a way for both of you to learn about each other. It is out there. We are going to take a break here. And when we come back, we will finish up with our sex games in the bedroom. Go replenish that drink, replenish that snack. Come back, get relaxed again in your comfy position. And meet me back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we are continuing on the topic of the Sex Olympics / Sex Games, and we're going to continue where we left off with an oldie but goodie game, and it always seems to be a real good game at sleepovers, adult or children. But truth or dare? You want to focus more on the truth on this one than the dare, but depending on what your mood is, you can turn around and say, you can dare your lover to kiss you with no hands, to please you with only the very tip of their tongue. Now, this truth or dare, sexual truth or dare, can get really, really wild, and it's a way in which to exchange your wildest fantasies between partners. So you can throw that out there. I think dare is going to be picked more than truth when it comes to sex, but okay. I'm just saying. Our next game will be Orgasm Contest. It's not even a contest, but it is about the orgasm. You gotta masturbate next to each other. Whoever comes first is the winner. But whoever comes first helps the other to get the pinnacle, which is to get to the orgasm, and gets to get a special request of whatever reward they want in round 2. So there are 2 rounds to this. Obviously, you sit next to each other. You're laying on the bed wherever, sitting in chairs facing each other and masturbating. And the one who comes first, obviously, is the winner there. But you, the winner, have to help your partner to land that orgasm. Another game that is really good is Mirror, Mirror. Now, we all know how to play the game Mirror. You sit in front of a partner and you mimic each other's moves. Hence the mirror. Played it when we were kids. Had to do it as an exercise in confidence building. Now we've brought it into the sexual age, where you sit down, face each other, still same concept in the beginning, but you begin to touch, kiss, lick, or graze your partner, and then have him or her repeat it back on your body as closely as possible to the way that you did it on them. It is a very sexy, very hot, a great way to be very descriptively communicate to your partner what you like without actually having to tell them. So then you switch the roles, obviously. It is a game both should be playing. Keep it out to get it in. That is a long name for a game. But hey, let's see how it's played. You get a timer, any kind of timer you want. Use your cell phone, an hourglass, a stopwatch. Now, you pick a time interval, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or even an hour, and fool around with your partner however you please. but don't allow any kind of penetration before the timer has gone off. So this takes a lot of discipline. That's kind of tough, but it can be done. Buy an actual sex board games. Now I know I've talked about sexual board games in other shows, but there are a ton of them out there. Some, use playing cards, which there is a game for that. Pick a card, pick any card. And, however, some of these sexual board games do use a die. And then, now there are more traditional board games. One of them, is by Nookies. Nookii. And it's a sexy mix of all three of the things used. The playing cards, the dice, the board game. Now you can also get a Jenga set. And you can take each one of those blocks and make up a sexual act that you want done. And then play the game. Every time you successfully extract a block, whatever is written on that block, you have to perform sexually to your partner or on yourself. And then if the tower gets knocked down, obviously come up with a punishment. Be creative, naughty, kinky, whatever it is you want, but make the punishment fun and sexual. Another game would be Overpower. The way they describe it is this can take the form of a tickle wall, a naked pillow fight, a wrestling session, a thumb war, any way you want to do it. The point is struggling against your partner. So you're really the whole idea is to struggle with your partner. You get worked up competing. One of you, whoever it is, surrenders first, has to perform an agreed upon sexual favor for the other. So you must come up with that sexual favor first, go to war, and don't give up just so it can be done on you. Actually play out the game and then, change what it is that you are to perform and play again. It's a sexual version of calling uncle. Put it that way. Choose your pleasure tool. Have your partner try to make you come using any object/toy of your choosing. Well, that's not that one we're going to use anyway. It's already in the bedroom. It's great foreplay. Okay, we'll go with it that way. Whether you get there or not, but 10 to 1 you will. That orgasm's gonna come. Santa's bag. Ooh, now we're hitting Christmas games. The object of Santa's bag is you put any sex toys you may have into a bag. Make sure they're all clean. Have your partner reach in without looking and pick one out. Or you can do it by blind picking. Put a blindfold on your partner, have them pick. Whichever one gets chosen is the toy of the night. Now, this actually can be broken down into the first fun you're having sexually, you get to orgasm, then you get rested and you want to go again, you can swap roles and have your partner wear the blindfold and pick the toy. So there's ways to do this. Now, this can take the self-consciousness out of intentionally adding a toy to the mix. So that should be fun. Interesting to see what your partner is going to pick up. And you can actually go early in the day, if you know you're going to play this game, and buy some new sex toys. And it makes it that much more fun. Both of you go to different stores, pick out sex toys, don't show each other the toys, and put them in the bag. That makes it that much more of a mystery and fun. Because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what your partner picked. And you might just have to learn how to use the toy. So think about it that way. Hide and seek. Obviously the R-rated version. When your partner is on their way home, you leave a trail of clothing or clues or to your hiding place. Usually you play these little games with your partner. They're sweet. But this one's going to be all sex. When they finally get home and find you, they get to decide what comes next. And then you can switch the roles later, but they get to decide what they're going to do to you, how it's going to be played out, how the game's going to transpire. So be ready for their whatever they want to do. And it's, just make sure that if you are uncomfortable, you do say something. But that's what this does. And have fun with those. But there are games that ante up the naughty list, which help you to be amazingly better in the bedroom. They're playful. They're all of these things. But they are some games. I think everybody, all partners, couples, should play sex games. It keeps your sexual relationship fruitful. It makes it fun. It gives you closer to your partner in more ways than just sex. And having that variety, that bonding, the intimacy that comes along with it, there is very, very helpful. So, these games are, you've got 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds. The reason being there is 30 seconds. Your partner is going to be giving, the both of you are going to be giving each other a time limit of just 30 seconds to turn each other on and get each other off. You better be real horny for this one. So you can take any timer that you want, use the one on your phone, but it is 30 seconds and you have to get them off. You can decide who goes first by flipping a coin or whatever. Then you set your timer. They will give you as much pleasure as possible in those 30 seconds. Because generally that's really not enough unless you haven't had sex in a long time and you're extremely horny and just blow on you and you have an orgasm. I think that's the only way. But you got to work at it. And if you're good at what you do, this is going to really test your skills. 30 seconds. Once you have had your pleasure, switch the roles and you have 30 seconds to pleasure your partner. It isn't, the timer isn't there to get you nervous or whatever, but it is. You're going to be there really trying to do this in 30 seconds. Some people say, oh, I can do this. When you get with me, it's going to be, I can turn you on just by being there or whatever the case may be. Okay. If you think so, go ahead and try it, timer and all. So I'll give it to you. It's a very difficult thing to do. And it's not easy, but you have to be creative. And, if you have had sex the night before or whatever the case may be, it's going to take longer to get you off in 30 seconds. It's going to be harder to get you off in 30 seconds, but we're going to go on to hot and cold. Obviously, hot and cold is much simpler to play. But that doesn't make it less of like a fun game to do sexually. Now, what you're going to be doing is arranging a few sweet foods, about 3 or 4 of them, that are either warm or cold. Now, ice cream, champagne, sorbet for the cold foods, but I'm sure you can think of something else. Heated honey, melted chocolate, and warm maple syrup for the warm foods, which are just some suggestions. Think about which ones that you want, because you are going to be eating this off of your partner. Now, you bring your partner somewhere private, take off their pants, and then blindfold them. You tell them what you're going to give them, that you're going to give them. In this case, it is a man, but you tell them, and the man, you're going to tell them you're going to give him a blowjob. But not just the regular type of blowjob. You tell him you're in the mood for dessert. You have a few things prepared. If he asks what, then just say it's a surprise. So, then you go to town. You use your mouth. If you got ice cream on there, his penis becomes the ice cream cone. So, just remember when you have the heated foods that they're not too hot. We don't want anybody to get hurt here. Our genitals are quite sensitive, but they are our friends. And it's all about the sex. Okay. We're going to take our last break in the show. So you can stay right there or get up, get a drink, get some more food, go to the bathroom, whatever you would like. But meet me back here for more Sex Talk with Andra, where we will finish out our sex games, and then I will talk about sex video games that are out there. Again, meet me back here for more Sex Talk with Andra.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, this is the final segment of the show where we are talking about sex Olympics / sex games. And as promised, we will end it out with a sex video game discussion at the end. We are continuing with our sex games in the bedroom, and we will pick up where we left off with going on to slippery sex. This should be real fun. It is as it says. It is so incredibly horny, hot, and arousing about having sex, where the both of you are hot and sweaty and sliding all over each other. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. For the most part, people like it. So the best way to achieve this is having sex in a steam room or a sauna. Obviously, we're not going to go and get a membership at a gym just to go into the sauna. There is a way in which you can replicate this steamy effect, although it's much easier when it's like 90 degrees outside and humidity, and open up all the windows and the doors with no air conditioner, and there you go. So remember that's there. But what you can do in the house is turn the heat up really high and cover yourself from head to toe in a natural oil. You know, coconut oil or somewhere around there. Now, filling your bodies easily slide over each other during sex is incredibly hot to some people. Others don't like the feeling, but it's an indicative part of sex to most people. So there's a passionate side to it, and it's animalistic. Can be taken to the extreme. You're sliding all over the place. Be careful. But if you've done it before and you got it under control, then fine. But just don't, remember, you're going to have oils on you, you're going to be sweating from the heat, and you are definitely going to be sliding off and on your partner. This one, try and, you gotta be careful with it, but do play it out. Another one is the try not to have sex game. Those are always the sexiest and the hottest games out there. It's like the opposite of what you want to do in the bedroom, but that's the sexual allure of it and the sexual attraction. So it builds such sexual tension that when you do get to that point, you just want to rip each other's clothes off, and you just go straight for the landing. But the idea of this game is to delay the gratification, which makes it that much more better to have that orgasm. So technically, how the game is played, you're not allowed to have sex. Okay? Now you're thinking about this. The way we go around this is you're going to try and make it fun by trying to entice your partner into initiating sex without you, while your partner is doing the same exact thing to you. Now, obviously the loser in this game is the person who gives in and actually initiates sex, because they can't take it anymore. It's a game of holding out, as difficult as it can be. It is a game of holding out. You gotta focus on the foreplay and building up the anticipation and the arousal. So, I mean, if you know how to play, this is kind of sort of that per se. But you can go and have sex. It's just, you have to hold out. Who can hold out the longest is the winner. It's as simple as that. You always want to find ways to spice up the bedroom, or spice up how things are done, or not done for that matter. And there you are. You know, you don't have to have the sex. It might just be where you are, the tease of it sets you off so badly that you have orgasm without sex. So, and it's just that, in a simple thing. You can just play with foreplay with this. Now, we have a game called the Fantasy Fulfiller. Now, the basic idea behind it is that you are going to have a safe and fun way to explore each other's fantasies. What you and your partner are going to do is write down each of the fantasies that you most want to try out on a small piece of paper. Then you are going to fold up each piece of paper and put them into a hat. When you do this, make sure that both of you put in equal amounts of fantasies. No skimming. And this would make it, easier and less awkward, because you're going to have 3 things. And there's going to be 3 hats. So you put 3 hats, each thing in there. The first one is going to have fantasies that are quite tame, whereas it could be just something that you're going to wear sexy, or how you want to make, the ambience of the room. The next hat's going to have ideas of a little bit more kinkier. And then the last will contain your wildest fantasies. Now, to play this game, you're going to take turns taking pieces of paper out of the hat, and then try out the fantasy with your partner. You're going to first stop the tame hat. Start with that one, pick out a tame sexual act. Then when it is completely empty, you need to move on to the immediate hat. And then after you're done with that, you go to the wildest hat and act out those. Now you got to make yourself, each of you comfortable when getting, as it's upping its sexual fantasy. So remember that if you do not feel good about it, please say something, because there could be some wild things that you didn't even think your partner was thinking about. And this is how they're presenting it to you. You don't want that. Alright, you can put a lot of things in there. Now, the big tease. It is one of the best sex games to play with your partner. And you should always incorporate a good sexual tease into your sexual act. And by doing so, it just turns your sexual relation into something more. With this game, it should be something that you should try to incorporate into the relationship, whether you're 18 or 80, obviously. Keep things fun and interesting. You don't have to get sexual or kinky when using this one for it to work well, which is a good thing. The whole idea is that you're going to gently tease and mess with your partner all day long, whether it be at work, at home, in the car, and stuff like that. The purpose of this particular game, you'll be quite sexual in your teasing when you're doing it. It could be something as simple as sending a few sex texts, and just saying what you're possibly going to do to your partner when they get home. You can call and say something on the phone. Or if you're out in public, you could get together, try leaning into your man and saying or your partner and saying things that you want or how you feel right then and there and what you want to do. So those are fun. All these games are fun, but always remember to communicate, have consent, and don't overdo it. If your partner doesn't like something, please stop. But this is a way to learn about this. So, as promised, ending or talking about a sexual video game that actually has been banned on some platforms, and it's called genital jousting. I saw this, I thought this was hysterical, but it is an actual game. It's a video game that is out there, and it's on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. It came out in 2018, or that's when they wrote this article. It's a fun multiplayer party game that features flaccid penises and wiggling anuses. It can support up to 8 players at once, where they control detached penises, complete with testicles and an anus. The game gives features of story mode, or where you can play as John, a dick who is looking for a date, or however that goes. But the whole object of the game is to stick your penis into the head of the penis into the penile canal of another, or into the anus of another. It is out there. It is being played. It is brought to light other genital jousting games that are actually on TV. People go onto the game naked, and it's a game where all you see is the lower half of someone's body, so it's either a female vagina or a male with a penis, and you pick which one you're attracted to, basically. And that's how you go about that. Sex has become such a big thing these days that you really need to realize where do they come up with these things. And I mean, there's a storyline that goes with genital jousting game. It tells the story of John, a penis who needs to find a date for his high school reunion. Genital jousting is also an online and local which is, I've already said, local multiplayer party game about plastic penis and wiggly aimlesses, blah, 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 blah. We know what those are. We know what they are. You can find this online. I don't know how many other sites have banned this particular game, but it's all about the penises. But there are other games that go on the sex part of it. There are games like Monster Girl Island. These are all erotica games. Fallen Down, Operation Lovecraft. These are all sex games that are out there. You could probably download them onto your phone. Rack 2 is another one. Some of these really are about, they're made for the PC games, but you can download some on your phone. And they're out there. I mean, it surprised me when I saw this. Another one is Custom Order Made 3D2. You get to customize your anime sex maid. Lady Killer in a Bind. Another game that's out there. These are all erotic games. And most of these games is you have to complete a quest where the end result is you get sex. So these are all porn games, erotic games, however you want to say it. They are out there, and I'm sure there are several of you out there that already have them. They're on Steam. There's Nutaku is another porn gaming hub. They have their other titles, the sex games of Crush Crush, Blush Blush. Some of these do cost a considerable amount of money to get. So really look into these before you do get them. But these are out there. General Jousting, Monster Girl Islands. These games are all erotic games. They, most of them are games that you play out quest, and your reward is sex with the character. So, it's all about porn. You can tell them what to do, how to do it, and tell them when you're going to be getting off on it too. So be ready to masturbate. That is the end of my show. I very much thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would also like to remind you to please subscribe to the show. It helps me, and it also helps the GSMC network. So go on there, subscribe, and give me 5 stars. And also, please do find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are there. Like us on there as well. And as always, practice safe sex. If not for your partner, for yourself, and vice versa. If not for yourself, for your partner. It is always good to do. Please go out and have some great sex. And thank you, and good night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.